Ouch! The sound was not loud, but it cut through the calm like a crack in glass. Evan Carter pulled his hand back on instinct, his fingers curling toward his palm. The pain was sharp, quick, and surprising more shock than injury. He stared at his knuckle, where 2 small marks had already begun to turn red. Across from him, the alien girl froze, Celira's wide silver eyes filled with panic. Her blue skin darkened slightly, a clear sign of fear among her people. She hadn't meant to hurt him. Not really. To her, it had been nothing more than play. I was only joking, she said, her voice thin and trembling. You laugh when I touch you like that. Evan blinked, then let out a small breath. He raised his hand to show it was fine. The skin wasn't broken. No blood. Just a sting. It's okay, he said gently. Really. Just surprised me, that's all. He even smiled, hoping that would calm her. It didn't. The room had gone quiet. Too quiet. The research dome was usually full of soft sounds, machines humming, translators clicking, aliens whispering in strange musical tones. Now every noise had stopped. The other Cathari had turned toward them, their long ears tilted forward. Their expressions unreadable. Evan noticed it then, the way no one moved, the way Celira slowly lowered her head. Her hands shaking at her sides. Something was wrong. Evan was a human diplomat, sent to the far edge of explored space to help with first contact relations. He had studied alien cultures for years. He knew mistakes happened. He knew misunderstandings were common, but this felt heavier. Sally? He asked softly. Hey, did I mess up the game or something? She swallowed hard. Her voice barely came out. I did, she whispered. I should not have done that. Evan frowned. Hey, it's fine. On Earth, friends joke around all the time. A little bite doesn't mean much. At those words, one of the elders inhaled sharply. Evan didn't hear it, but he felt the air change. Celira's eyes lifted slowly, full of confusion and fear. It doesn't? She asked. Evan shrugged lightly, trying to keep things relaxed. Not really. I mean, it hurts a bit, sure. But humans get hurt all the time. It's kind of our thing. He laughed quietly. No one laughed back. The elder stepped forward, her movements slow and careful, as if approaching something fragile. Her voice was calm, but tight. Human Evan, she said, how much pain did you feel? Evan thought about it. A little, he answered honestly. Enough to say ouch, not enough to matter. The elder's eyes narrowed slightly. And if the pain had been greater? Evan shrugged again. Then I'd deal with it. That answer caused a ripple of whispers through the room. Celira looked at Evan as if she were seeing him for the first time. Her chest rose and fell too fast. You did not cry, she said. You did not pull away from me in anger. Well, Evan said with a gentle smile, you didn't mean to hurt me. That counts. Her hands clenched into fists. Among the Cathari, intention mattered more than action. And any bite was never accidental. Evan didn't know that. The elder turned away slightly, speaking to the others in their soft, flowing language. Evan's translator lagged, struggling to keep up. He caught only fragments. Bond, chosen. Human does not understand. A cold feeling settled in Evan's chest. He stepped forward. Okay, he said, more serious now. I feel like I walked into something important without reading the rules. Can someone please explain? Celira finally met his eyes. Tears gathered at the edges of hers. In our culture, she said quietly, a bite is not play. Evan's smile faded. What is it then? He asked. Celira's voice shook as she answered. It is a promise. And in that moment, Evan realized the pain in his hand was nothing. The real wound had just begun. Evan stood frozen, the words echoing in his mind. It is a promise. He looked at Celira, her small blue form trembling in the pale light of the research dome. Her wide silver eyes were fixed on him, not with playfulness anymore, but with something heavier, something he didn't understand. She had thought her playful bite was harmless, but now he realized it carried meaning far beyond a simple joke. Around them, the other Cathari watched silently, their long fingers resting lightly on their chests. The translator stuttered and hummed, trying to keep up with the alien language, but even without full translation, Evan could feel the tension in the air. The elders were whispering rapidly among themselves, glances flicking toward Celira and him, their expressions a mixture of awe and caution. It was clear that nothing in the room was ordinary. Celira's voice was barely audible. I did not know. I thought it was just fun." She lowered her head, shaking slightly, her hands pressed to her mouth as if to stop herself from saying more. There was fear there, but also guilt. She had unknowingly stepped into something sacred. Evan took a careful step closer. "Selly, listen to me. You didn't hurt me. I mean it. I don't even feel angry, but I think this is important to you, right?" She nodded, tears glistening in her wide eyes. "Yes. Very important. It means something I cannot take back." The weight of the moment pressed on Evan. He had dealt with alien customs before, had been trained to navigate complex rituals and gestures, but nothing in his manuals had ever prepared him for this. A simple, playful bite had transformed into a solemn promise, a pledge of loyalty, a sacred act in her culture. He looked at the elders, trying to gauge their reaction. Their eyes were calm but penetrating, studying him as if he were a puzzle they were trying to solve. Finally, one of the oldest stepped forward, her movements deliberate. She spoke slowly, carefully, so that Evan could catch the meaning even with the translator's delays. "When a Cathari bites another," she said softly, "it is never mere play. It is a vow. To protect, to endure, to honor. And now, human, you have been marked by this vow." Evan's stomach tightened. He realized that Celira's bite, playful as she thought it was, had placed him into something permanent in her culture. He hadn't asked for it. He hadn't understood it. And yet, it had happened. He looked at Celira again. Her hands were clasped nervously, and she glanced at him with a mixture of fear and hope. "I didn't mean to bind you," she whispered. "I only wanted to play. I didn't know." Evan exhaled slowly. "I know," he said gently. "I really do. But I need to understand what this means. You can't just explain it in one sentence. Can you?" Celira nodded. Her small shoulders lifted as she drew in a shaky breath. "It means, when I bite, it is a promise to give my protection, my pain, my loyalty, forever. And humans, you are now mine, to care for, to protect, and to witness your life. This is sacred." Evan's mind raced. He had encountered loyalty before, among soldiers, among friends, even among pets on Earth, but nothing like this. Nothing with such solemn weight. He felt the truth in her words, but he also felt the pressure. He had to choose. "I didn't know humans were part of this," he admitted, voice soft. "We don't do things this way. We don't mark each other with promises like this. We just try to care." Celira's eyes widened. "Try? Only try?" she asked, her voice tinged with disbelief. "Yes," he said, taking a small step closer. "We try, but sometimes we act, sometimes we fail. And sometimes we protect even when it's dangerous. That's our way of promising." The elder tilted her head, considering his words. The tension in the room remained, but there was curiosity, now a bridge forming between human and Cathari understanding. Celira reached for Evan's hand, trembling, and he took it gently in return. Her skin was soft but charged with an energy he couldn't describe, a deep earnestness that made his chest tighten. The promise in her bite had weight, yes, but her trust, her fear, and her hope were heavier. Evan squeezed her hand lightly. "I don't fully understand your customs yet," he said. "But I will try to honor them. And I think we can protect each other in our own way." Salira's eyes shimmered with unshed tears. A small, hopeful smile appeared on her lips. The elders exchanged quiet words, their gaze softening, as if acknowledging that something new, fragile, and extraordinary had begun. In that moment, Evan realized that a single playful bite had opened a door to understanding, trust, and a bond he hadn't anticipated. It was not just a bite. It was a bridge between worlds, delicate and powerful, waiting for him to step across. He looked down at Salira and whispered, almost to himself, "I guess this is the start of something bigger than both of us." Salira nodded, her small hand tightening in his as the room seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the human to respond to the promise she had given without realizing the weight it carried. The night had fallen over the research station, but the lights in the central dome remained bright, casting long shadows across the smooth metallic floor. Evan sat quietly in the observation room, his hand still tingling where Salira had bitten him hours ago. He hadn't felt pain like that in a long time, not the sharp sting, but the weight of responsibility it carried. The playful moment had turned into something far more serious, and he felt it settling into his chest, heavy and real. Salira hovered nearby, pacing nervously. Her small frame trembled, though her wide silver eyes shone with determination. "Evan, I have to tell you the truth," she whispered. She paused, biting her lip in worry. "In our culture, when a Cathari bites someone, it is a pledge, a bond that is lifelong. It means I have given you my loyalty, my protection, my life in a way." Evan swallowed hard. He had studied alien customs, but nothing had prepared him for this. "Your life?" he asked cautiously. His voice was calm, but inside, his mind was racing. "You mean, you think you have chosen me?" Salira nodded, tears brimming. "Yes, I did not mean it as a trap. I thought it was playful, like humans play. But in truth, I have bound myself to you." Evan's heart skipped a beat. He had faced countless dangers, engine failures, alien ambushes, radiation storms, but nothing felt as fragile and dangerous as this moment. He realized that every word mattered now. Every glance, every gesture could carry consequences he didn't understand. And worse, he might have to make a choice he wasn't prepared for. Before he could speak, the doors to the room slid open with a quiet hiss. 3 Cathari elders entered, their long, graceful limbs moving with careful purpose. They watched Evan with eyes that seemed to pierce through him. The translator hummed, but Evan understood enough from the tone and gestures. "You have been bitten," one elder said slowly, her voice calm but serious. "Do you understand what this means?" Evan nodded, trying to keep his composure. I think I do, but not fully. Can you explain?" The elder's eyes softened slightly, and she motioned toward Salira. She did not bite lightly. She did not play. She gave you her bond, her life's loyalty. If you accept it, it cannot be undone. If you reject it, she will be marked as careless, and her spirit may carry shame for years. Evan felt a cold wave of fear. He looked at Salira, her small frame trembling, lips pressed tight. She had only meant to play, only meant to laugh, and now she had given everything unknowingly. I don't know what to say," Evan admitted softly. "I don't fully understand your customs, and I don't want to hurt her. I never wanted this to happen." Salira's voice was barely audible, trembling. "I only wanted to play. I only wanted to be close." Evan knelt in front of her, his human heart aching. "Sally, listen to me. You didn't hurt me, I feel. Honored in a way I can't explain. I don't fully understand your world yet, but I know this, whatever you meant, I'll respect it. The elder stepped closer. Do you accept the bond, human? To honor it, even if it brings you danger or pain. Evan hesitated. Humans valued choice, and he couldn't ignore the weight of this decision. He looked at Celira, her trembling form, her fear, her hope. And in that moment, he understood something crucial. The bond wasn't just about her. It was about trust, about loyalty, about caring for someone completely, even when it was difficult. He exhaled slowly. Yes, he said. I accept it. Not because I understand it completely, but because I choose to respect you. And I choose to protect you, just like you have chosen to protect me. Celira's eyes widened in disbelief. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, You accept me, even though it was a mistake? Evan smiled softly, reaching out to gently hold her hands. It's not a mistake. It's a beginning. And I think we can learn together what this bond truly means. The elders exchanged quiet glances, then nodded. The room, once tense with fear and uncertainty, seemed to breathe again. The weight of the promise was still heavy, but now it was shared. Celira leaned into him slightly, her small hand pressing against his chest. And for the first time, Evan felt a real connection, a fragile, emotional bridge between human and alien, built not by ritual alone, but by trust and choice. In the silence of the observation dome, Evan realized that a playful bite had become a defining moment. Not just for Celira, but for him. And for the first time, he understood that some promises weren't meant to be broken. They were meant to teach humans and aliens alike what it truly meant to care. The bond had begun, and nothing would ever be the same again. The next morning, the research dome felt heavier than usual. Sunlight filtered through the tall, curved windows, but the warmth couldn't touch the tension that lingered in the air. Evan sat at the observation table, his fingers tapping lightly against the metal surface. He had slept little, turning over the words from the night before in his mind. Celira sat across from him, hands folded, eyes fixed on the floor, her small frame trembling with quiet anxiety. It was clear that the elders wanted him to make a choice. The bite was no longer just a playful mistake. In Cathari culture, it carried consequences, serious and permanent. Accepting it meant he would honor the bond she had given unintentionally. Rejecting it meant she would bear the shame of carelessness, a burden heavier than 1,000 mistakes. Evan ran his hand through his hair and exhaled. He had faced danger before, storms in space, rogue creatures, alien politics, but this was different. This was emotional. This was personal. A life had been given to him, even if unintentionally, and now he had to decide if he would honor it. Celira's silver eyes met his, wide and fearful. I did not mean to choose you, she whispered, her voice trembling. I only wanted to play, to laugh, to be close. Evan reached across the table, gently lifting her chin. Celly, I know. I don't think you did this on purpose. I can see that it was innocent. But now, it's real. And we have to decide what to do next. The elders approached silently, their long limbs gliding across the floor. Their faces were calm, yet each line and wrinkle seemed to carry the weight of centuries. They didn't speak immediately. Instead, they watched Evan, waiting for him to show understanding. Finally, one elder spoke. Human Evan, the bond she has given is sacred. You may refuse it, and the shame will fall upon her. Or you may accept it, and the bond will become true, unbreakable, enduring. Evan swallowed. The words were simple, but their weight pressed on his chest. If I refuse, he asked quietly, she will be punished? Just for a mistake? Yes, the elder replied softly. Mistakes in our culture are serious. Intentions do not erase consequences. Evan looked at Celira again, her hands trembling as they rested on the table. Her lips were pressed tightly together, trying to hold back tears, but her wide eyes gave everything away: fear, hope, and something like longing. He realized in that moment that this was not just about the bite. It was about trust, about loyalty, about understanding. He stood slowly, walking toward her. "Celly, do you understand what's at stake?" She nodded, but her body shook. I do. I am scared. I did not mean to do this. I do not want to be shamed." Evan placed his hands gently on her shoulders. "Then you don't have to be. Not if I decide something different. I won't let you bear this alone." The elders murmured quietly among themselves, intrigued by the humans' compassion. In their culture, humans were strange, fragile, emotional, yet capable of unexpected courage. Evan took a deep breath, feeling the weight of his choice. Humans prided themselves on free will. They valued decisions made from the heart, not ritual. And in this moment, he realized what he truly wanted. "I accept it," he said finally, his voice steady. "Not because I understand every rule, not because I follow your rituals, but because I choose to honor you. Because I choose to protect you, as you have unknowingly chosen to protect me. And I do not think this is a mistake." Celira's silver eyes widened in disbelief. Tears spilled down her cheeks and she whispered, You accept me, even though I only meant to play?" Evan smiled softly, reaching out to cup her small hand in his. "It doesn't matter what you meant. What matters is what we do now. We protect each other. We face what comes together. That is what humans do." The elders exchanged glances, nodding in quiet approval. They had not expected a human to honor a bond given by accident, to embrace its meaning through choice rather than fear. Something in the dome shifted. The tension lightened, replaced by a fragile hope. Celira leaned forward slightly, resting her forehead against his arm. I will try to understand humans better," she whispered, voice trembling. I hope I can do it right." Evan gently stroked her hair, smiling softly. "You already did it right, Celly. You showed me trust, even when you didn't understand it. That's what matters." For the first time, the fear in Celira's eyes eased. The bond, once accidental and heavy, became a bridge between them. A fragile, glowing connection that neither ritual nor culture could fully define, but both could honor. Outside, the sun rose higher, spilling golden light across the dome. Inside, two worlds had begun to meet, not through obligation, but through choice. And Evan knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, human and Cathari, bound by trust, loyalty, and something far more powerful than a simple promise. The calm of the research dome didn't last long. A sudden alarm cut through the quiet, red lights flashing and sirens wailing. Evan's heart jumped as he grabbed Celira's hand. The humans had seen threats before: meteor strikes, equipment failures, but this was different. The air shivered with the tension of unknown danger. "Evan, what's happening?" Celira whispered, her voice trembling. Her small hands gripped his tightly, and her wide silver eyes darted around the room. "I don't know yet," Evan admitted, his voice firm despite the racing of his heart. "But whatever it is, we'll face it together." The elders appeared from the corridors, moving with calm precision, their long limbs gliding across the floor. "Pirates," one of them said softly, approaching the station. "They do not follow our laws. They will take what they wish."